Alright guys, so my name is Ms. Z, and today we are going to be learning about time. So who can tell me what time is? So time is what we use to measure our day. Why is that important? Why would we need time? So we need time because we need to be able to, like I said, measure our day, and that's how we follow a schedule and know what to do. What's one example? Who can tell me what they use time for? Perfect example. We use time for getting up to go to school in the morning. So let's say that you need to be at school at 8, like you guys need to be at school at 8. So I have to leave my house at 7:30 to get to school on time. So I'm using time to make sure that I'm able to be at school at the time that I say that I'm going to be there, because I need to be at school at 8 so I can help students in the morning and get ready for the day. Alright guys, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using the big clock to learn some about our how to tell time on analog clocks, and we are also going to be doing a worksheet together, and then you guys are going to be doing a worksheet independently. Okay? So can anybody tell me, is there a clock in this classroom? Does anyone see a clock? You're right, yeah, there's a clock over there above the door. Okay, is there another clock you guys see? How about this one on my lap here? So this is definitely a clock that we're going to be using today to tell the time, or learn how to tell time. Okay, so do we ever have clocks on our wrist maybe? What would they be called? A clock on your wrist? No, they're called watches. You're right. So we often carry watches on our wrist to be able to tell the time better and be able to tell it while we're out and about. It used to be a much bigger thing than it is today, but now everyone uses their cell phones to tell time. Okay? So today, guys, we are going to be working on this big clock. What's one thing that you can tell me about this big clock besides that it's big and yellow? Okay, yeah, so it has these two different hands on here. That's how we refer to them, as hands, okay? So as you can see, one is bigger than the other one and one's a little bit smaller. So we use the two hands to tell the hour and the time. Which hand do you guys think tells the hour? No, it's not the big hand. A lot of students will think it's the big hand, and I got confused when I was a kid too like this, because you would think hours are bigger than minutes. So you would think that the big hand would tell the hour and not the minutes, but that's not right. Our big hand tells the minutes, and then our little hand tells the hours, okay? And then we use all the numbers on here. They tell us the hours, and then all the little numbers in between will tell us the minutes, okay? But today we're just going to be focusing on telling the hours. So if I have both of my hands up here at 12, can anyone guess what time you think that this would be? So I have my minute hand is on 12 and also my hour hand, okay? So that means it is 12 o'clock, okay? So because both hands are pointing at the 12, that means it's 12. This might get a little confusing here, but what you have to think, in order to tell the hour, you have to basically think of this 12 as like a neutral space, okay? So whenever your minute hand is at the 12, you're telling the hour. And right now the minute hand's at the 12, and then because our hour hand is also at the 12, it's 12 o'clock, okay? So as the hour moves on, the minute hand will keep moving because we talked about minutes are smaller than hours. And it will just keep moving and moving until it goes all the way around the clock. And now we find that our minute hand, again, is up here at 12. So if our minute hand is at 12, can anyone tell me where our hour hand is? You're right, it's at 1. So can anyone just take a guess at what time you think that is? It doesn't mean that's 12 o'clock. We already talked about when the hour and the minute hand is at 12, that's when it's 12 o'clock. Okay? But so the minute hand's at 12 and the hour hand is at 1. So that means that it's 1 o'clock, okay? So wherever this hour hand is, as long as the minute hand's on 12, that's how you're gonna tell what the hour is, okay? So once again, the minute hand's moving, and it's gonna go all the way around the clock, and it's gonna land back at 12, okay? So now that it's back at 12, where's our hour hand? Yeah, it's at 2. So what time would you guys think that is? 2 o'clock, perfect. So we're gonna keep moving, and it's gonna go all the way around the hour, okay? And it's back at 12. So where's our hour hand? It's at 3. So what time does that make it? 3 o'clock, okay. So that's kind of easy for you guys because I'm showing you how the hour moves. But let's do this. If I have, okay, so this is the time here. Can anybody tell me what time this is without me explaining it? Anybody? Okay, so it is going to be 7. So we have our hour hand at 7, and we have our minute hand at 12. So it's 7 o'clock. What if I move it to here? 9 o'clock, correct. It is 9 o'clock because we have our hour hand at 9 and we have our minute hand at 12. Like I said before, our minute hand, if it's at 12, we're gonna look for the hour, okay? And then wherever our hour hand is, that's what hour it is. So because our hour hand is pointing at 9, we know that it is 9 o'clock because we have our minute at 12, okay? So now I'm going to pass out this worksheet for you guys, okay? So right now I have a student passing out this worksheet. It's called Party Time, and we're going to work on it together, okay? And then after we work on this one together, you're going to have a very similar worksheet to work on by yourself, okay? So as you can see up on the projector, where I have the worksheet, I want you guys to tell me what you notice about this worksheet. You're right, so it has a bunch of analog clocks, and they're all telling different times, okay? So what's down here? Down here is the written form of the time. So, for example, we have 12, 8, 11, 10, 3, and 5 o'clock, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut out the bottom part, and we are going to paste it to the time that matches above. So we're going to paste the visual representation here, the digital time, because this is how we would read digital time, and we're going to paste it up here to our analog clocks, okay? But in order to do that, you guys are going to have to cut out this bottom part, okay? So right now I'm also going to pass out some safety scissors. But before I get to passing out the scissors, I want to go over with you guys the scissor rules, okay? So if we're walking with scissors, we should always be holding our scissors like this. We should always have the sharp part covered in our hand. That way, if something were to happen, we won't hurt anybody else, okay? So, and then when we're using the scissors, we want to make sure we put our 2 fingers in the bigger part and the 1 finger in the, your thumb in the smaller part to use the scissors. What should we be cutting with the scissors? Can anyone tell me? That's right, we should only be cutting our worksheet, and we're only cutting the bottom part of the worksheet where we see the lines. That's the only part you're going to be cutting, okay? You should not be cutting anything else in the classroom. If anyone uses their scissors incorrectly, that will result in loss of recess time, okay? So now that you guys have your little guys all cut out, we're going to work on our worksheet together. Okay, so I want you guys, you can look up on the projector so you can see my version of the worksheet, okay? So for our first problem, who can kind of guess here? No, it's not 3 o'clock. I know 3 o'clock is kind of opposite here. But so what we see is we see our 12. So we see our big hand is pointing at the 12. And then we see our little hand pointing at the 9. So what time do we think that is? 9 o'clock, right. So I want you to take your 9 o'clock cutout, and you're going to get your glue stick, and you're going to put some glue on the back of this, and then you're going to glue it just like you can see me doing on the projector, you're going to glue it right under 9 o'clock, okay? For the next one, we see at the 12 hand, our big hand is again at the 12, so we're going to know what hour it is. And then our little hand's at the 4. So what time is it? Perfect, it's 4 o'clock. So once again, we're going to put some glue on the back of the 4, and then you take your 4, and you're going to put it right under, okay? So for the next one, anyone take a guess what you think it is? That's right, 6 o'clock. Can you explain to us why it's 6 o'clock? Perfect, so it's 6 o'clock because we have our big hand is pointing at the 12, and then we have our little hand pointing at the 6. So we know it's 6 o'clock. So make sure you put your 6 o'clock up there. Who wants to guess on the next one? Okay, yeah, 1 o'clock, perfect. So we have our big hand's at the 12, and then our little hand is at the 1, so we know it's 1 o'clock. So make sure you put some glue on that 1, and you paste it up there. Okay, and the next one, who wants to take a guess? Awesome, 2 o'clock. So we know that our big hand is at the 12, and our little hand's at the 2. So we know it's 2 o'clock. All right, and who wants to take a stab at the last one? All right, go ahead. You're right, it is 7 o'clock. So can you explain to us why it's 7 o'clock? Okay, so it is 7 o'clock because the little hand is at 7, and the big hand is at 12. So remember, the big hand, if it's at 12, we're looking for the hour, and then the little hand is pointing towards the hour, which is 7. Perfect. All right, guys, so if you look up on the projector, on the screen of the projector here, you should see my paper. Your paper should look just like mine. So the first answer is 9 o'clock, second's 4 o'clock, third, 6 o'clock, the fourth is 1 o'clock, fifth is 2 o'clock, and the sixth is 7 o'clock. Okay, so for what you guys are going to be doing by yourself, I expect you guys to not be talking. This is independent work, okay? So you're going to be working on a paper. It looks just like the one we just did, except it's all different times, okay? So you're going to do this independently. We're going to remember our scissor rules, that we're not cutting anything except for the paper, okay? So I want you guys to cut out the bottoms here, and then you are going to glue the matching numbers from the bottom to the analog clocks up top, okay? And I am going to be walking around the class answering questions if you have any. If you guys finish early, you are welcome to read to keep yourself busy, okay? I don't want to see anyone just sitting there doing nothing, okay? So I want you guys to get started on the paper. Okay, since you guys are all done with your paper now, we are going to review what we just did, okay? So who can tell me what this is here? That's right, it's the big hand. What do we use the big hand for? Yeah, we use it for telling the hour. You're right. So if it's at the hour, you put it at, in order to tell the hour, it's pointing at 12, okay? So 12, and then we know what the time is at 9 o'clock right now, okay? So we use our big hand. It tells the minutes, which we're going to get more, we'll learn that more in detail in the next couple lessons, okay? But the big hand tells the minutes. What does our little hand do? Our little hand will tell the hour. You're right. So whatever the little hand's pointing at, that's what the hour is, okay? Let's see. So how do I use both of these? How do they relate to each other to tell time? Yeah, so you're right. So the time, the minutes will keep moving, and it moves all the way around the clock. And the hour hand will move much slower than the minute hand to tell the hour, okay? So we know, because our minute hand went all the way around the clock and came back to 12, it is now 1 o'clock, okay? So here's kind of a bigger question for you guys. What might happen if we didn't have time? If we didn't have time, could that end up being very confusing. So if we didn't have time, we wouldn't know what to do with our day. How would I know to be at school at 8 o'clock if we didn't have time? I wouldn't. How would I know to dismiss you guys at 3:15 without time? I wouldn't know how to dismiss you guys. So we would just be stuck here all day. And nobody wants to be stuck at school all day. Okay? Can anyone describe an experience to me where you didn't know what time it was and it made things more difficult for you? I know with me, my family, we like to go on the boat. And one day, we forgot our phone, which like we were talking about before, we do time. A lot of people tell time on their phone. We forgot to bring our phone, and on the boat, we don't have any other way to tell time. So we ended up staying out way later than we originally planned to stay out. We wanted to come back in at 3 o'clock, but we ended up staying out till 5. So we stayed out later than we wanted to, so we weren't able to get as much stuff done that day because we were going to come home, we were going to clean the house, but we didn't end up getting able to do that. Okay, so can anyone else tell me a time that was maybe difficult because of that? Because you couldn't tell time? Alright guys, so that was an awesome lesson. Thank you for cooperating so much.